is my senior project presentation. First, I'm going to start off on why I joined Civitas. My Civitas experience is slightly different than my peers because I was not originally in the program as a freshman. And I think that was because it was a little bit intimidating to me and it had a reputation of being a challenging program. And I wasn't sure I was ready for that, and I was worried about my workload going into high school. But at the end of my freshman year, I got my grades back and I had nearly perfect grades, but something didn't feel right. And I felt like I was kind of cheating myself and I hadn't really expanded my knowledge outside of the A through G requirements. So about halfway through my second semester freshman year, after getting in a lot of political debates with my parents over politics and religious ideas and philosophy, I realized that Civitas was probably the right fit for me. So I went to one of the last interviews at freshman year, and a few weeks later I got the letter saying I was in. And at the time I didn't even realize it was probably one of the most influential and best decisions I had made. And it really led me to understand what I wanted to do in my future. So I was a year behind, and that meant I had to catch up my freshman year. And Miss Reed was really open and understanding of this and helped me learn how to double up my classes and take extra classes. And Civitas never really seemed like a lot of work to me because it was always something I was really interested in. So next I'm going to talk about Civitas events. Since I started the program in my sophomore year, I did the pancake breakfast and the international dinner both in that year. What I really liked about the pancake breakfast was that you could see what you were interested in and work on that committee. And it was also, Ms. Reed gave the students a ton of responsibility, which is really brave of her as freshmen running the whole event. And if you were interested in graphics, you could work on t-shirt designs and tickets. If you were interested in fundraising, you could sell tickets and get donations. And I was really interested in putting together the event and the design aspect of it. So I worked on all the setup committees, and I also worked on the donation committees. And at the beginning of the year, you're told about the event, and you kind of wonder why you're told about it so early on, but at the end you see it really does take a whole year of participation. It was amazing to see in the end over 300 people show up, and the event raised between $10,000 and $15,000, which was really amazing to me to see that me and my sophomore freshman peers could raise that much money together. Next was the international dinner. This was probably one of my favorite events because at the time I was taking an international relations class, and I really loved learning about foreign policy and international relations. And this event is different because it's not a fundraising event. You don't have to sell tickets or raise money off of donated items. It's really about informing your community members and inviting them to inform them about foreign policy in the international event that you choose. I ran the whole setup committee for this event, and I really learned that I liked being a leader and taking charge. So junior year is when you start thinking about your internship because you've completed most of your Civitas classes. I realized I was most interested in politics, and being so fortunate to live in Sacramento, I was around so many politics. So I ended up interning at Senator Pan's office at the Capitol, and it seemed like the perfect fit. At the beginning, I was a little nervous being a high school student, wanting to seem serious and professional, but they were super open and inviting in the office. And there was also a few other high school interns that helped me as well. I learned how much I loved learning about policy making, and at the time, I didn't even realize Senator Pan's office was probably one of the best offices to be in over the summer because he created and passed the bill SB 277, which is removing the personal belief exemption on vaccinations, which means public school students and private school students now have to get medical vaccines unless they're excused by their doctor. So this led me into what I wanted to do for my senior project. One of the first days of my internship, the chief of staff, Crystal Strait, sat me down and said she knew about Civitas and she asked what I wanted to do for my senior project, and I really didn't have any idea. But later, throughout working the internship, I worked with a fellow in the office named Felipe on a lot of education bills. And that came really naturally to me being a student. I was really passionate about that. And Senator Pan really inspired me to see that there could be a problem you address and fix it in the community. And this made me realize that I wanted to do the same. So my senior project helps address the lack of sexual education in schools. These sex ed classes have been diminishing and are not mandatory in a lot of schools, and are often not funded. This can be a huge problem to students who get most of their education from school and do not learn information or accurate information at home. Sometimes what your parents want you to learn is not always what's best for you. I started off gathering information on what's missing from our health and sex ed programs in our public school system. So to find out more, I put out a survey to our school, asking them what they thought of our health program, what they think they learn at home, what they think they know about sex ed. And I guess we're really fortunate, the school we come from and the families we come from. I don't think we realize how different our education is compared to the communities around us, and that over 70% of the people surveyed really thought that they learned most of their information from their home life. And I took health online because of my impacted schedule, so I never had the chance to have Miss Ford as a health teacher. But the survey really portrayed a lot of positive things about her program, so I went to go talk to her, and she was extremely helpful gathering information about this. And I also learned that sexual education was not a huge problem at her school, and she also has a very thorough and complete sex ed program, which is kind of rare. And she goes out of her way every day to help students better understand the material she is teaching and why sexual education is so important. So this is why I decided to help her out and apply for an LCAP for her health program. The LCAP provides local funding for schools, and the way to receive this funding is to have an issue brought up by a student that can help our school. And since my senior project is improving health education, I thought this would be the perfect opportunity to help out our health department. The second part of my senior project was also to apply for the Green Ribbon Award, which I'll address in this document.
The Green Ribbon Award was great.
See? Yes, okay.
The Green Ribbon Award was created to inspire schools to strive for 21st century excellence. It recognizes schools that reduce environmental impacts and costs,